Just hang out. I think we are live, guys. Hold on, let me just check. Let me just check. Are we live? I'm just checking. I'm so desperate. Yeah, I think we're live. Hey, welcome to the live stream, everybody. Oh, 0 viewers. But anyway, I just decided, hey, let's do a live stream. So here I am. But the reason why I wanted to do this all the way back in I did one all the way back in like September or something, and it was really successful from the sound of things, but it's just it just wasn't like I never had time to do one. But now that I'm on spring break, I decided, hey, let's do one. So if not, this will just be an unedited video, and I'm just gonna do, and it will just become like a live book rant or something like that if everything goes horribly. But anyway, I have some topics to discuss, and if you guys want to send in some questions, go right ahead, because that's what happened in the live stream in September. So that'll be cool. So, and that was really fun. So yeah, let's do this. So I have a ton of books. I went to the library yesterday and got a lot of books. Oh my goodness. But anyway, enough of me. Let's get into the books. Man. I just gotta do a few things first. And I just gotta open up Twitter as well. What? It's like a motorcycle outside. I don't know. But anyway, we're live. Yay. So anyway, I'm just gonna get into this. Sorry for the little bit of quietness for a while. But the first book that I am going to talk about right now is Dead Souls by Nikolai Gogol. Nikolai Gogol is just fantastic. I've read what was that short story collection called? It was like the Collected Tales of Nikolai Gogol. Why was that so hard to memorize? But I loved it. It's one of my favorite short story collections of all time. Sorry about that. I loved that collection so much. It is so good, guys. It is so good. And this is his masterpiece, everybody's been telling me. This is his absolute masterpiece. And I cannot wait to get into this one. And hold on, I just gotta check something. I put a poll on Twitter and seeing if everybody was like, hey, should I do a live stream today? And so far there's 2 people that said yes, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, so Nikolai Gogol's Dead Souls. This is like considered his masterpiece and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into this. Stupid thing. All right. And also, this is just, and this edition's ugly. I'm just gonna say that right now. All right, the next book is in a beautiful edition, and I think I'm going to absolutely love this book. And that is All the King's Men by Robert Penn Warren. Like everybody has been telling me to read this book lately. Everybody in my life has been telling me to read this book lately, and people say, "Hey, it's absolutely fantastic." So, yeah, I just decided I'm going to read this. I'm really, really excited to read this. Oh, let me just check something. Yeah. All the King's Men by Robert Penn Warren. I think this is based on Huey Long, which is like this very liberal. What was it? He's a very liberal. Who is Huey Long? Chat. Who is Huey Long? But he was like a very liberal, I think, politician back then. I don't know, something like that. But All the King's Men, I've heard nothing but fantastic things about this. So yeah. Then I got him a Shelter by Jung Yoon. I think is how you pronounce her name. Is it a girl? Yeah, it's a girl, I think. Yeah. But Shelter by Jung Yoon. This book has been really not extremely popular, but like pretty relevant lately. And it's about this like guy that like is like in a house that he can't afford with his family. And Kate over at K-File absolutely adores this book. She like thinks it was like, I think it was on her favorites list of last year. But yeah, Jung Yoon is, I've heard absolutely fantastic things about this book. I've heard everybody that went into this book absolutely loved it. So yeah, I cannot wait to get into this. And with a new like authors that are like I don't want to make stereotypes, but I think she's from Asia, yeah, South Korea. With other Asian authors, I decided to do my favorite Asian author of all time. It's official, Yukio Mishima. I absolutely adore Yukio Mishima. This is Forbidden Colors. I got this recently. Well, not recently. I think I actually got it at Christmas time, but I just never read it. I actually bought more books from him and read those first, but mainly it's because of its length. This is one of Mishima's longest books. I know there's a book that's still in Japan. I've been dying to read that one called Kyoko's House. That's like, it's not translated in English. It's never been translated in English, and I'm hoping one day it will be translated in English. But out of all the ones that have been translated, I think this is his longest one, if you don't count the entirety of the Sea of Fertility series. But Forbidden Colors, I've heard fantastic things about this. It's about this like man trying to seek revenge on his wife through the help of this young gay man, and it sounds great. I think this is going to be real fun, and also pretty depressing. But Yukio Mishima, I absolutely love this guy. He's one of my personal favorite authors of all time. I absolutely adore him. So yeah, I seriously cannot wait to get into this because it's a life goal of mine to read all of Mishima, all of his work. Or at the very least, read everything that's been translated into English, because Kyoko's House, I think there's not much of an audience for Mishima books. So this is why I'm recommending him so much, because he is phenomenal. He's amazing. I just keep looking at my reflection because I'm just so fascinated by my looks. Because, ooh, a live stream. But Forbidden Colors, I absolutely am stoked about reading this book. Then we have a new release. I never thought I'd going to have a new release. Well, what am I talking about? I had a new release read just this month, actually. But this book was released in 2016. It was really popular, and I just never got around to it. Like, there's that one book. What was that one book called? It was by Underground Railroad. That was it. But by Colson Whitehead. I never read that book. I didn't read that book last year. I still haven't read it. And this is another really big release that I just never got to. And now I'm finally getting into it. And that is The Association of Small Bombs by Karen Mahajan, I think is how you pronounce his name. Yeah. But The Association of Small Bombs is about these two schoolboys that work in like a television repair shop. And one day, this just has so much Goldfinch vibes. Get ready. The shop blows up. It absolutely just gets destroyed. And both of them survive, and it just goes through their life story. Kind of like how Theo was in the Goldfinch. Like, it starts with the explosion at the museum and just goes throughout his life story. This is very similar to that. It's The Association of Small Bombs, I've heard nothing but fantastic things about it. I think it's wonderful. But this is what happens when I'm on live streams. Like, I say the weirdest stuff because I know, like, I can, like, with normal videos, I know I can edit them later. With live streams, I just do it. I just get on. And I kind of ramble and stutter. I'm not as much of a well speaker than I thought I was. But anyway, The Association of Small Bombs I've heard great things about it. I've heard it's wonderful, and I hope it's wonderful. That's what I was meaning to say. And then the library visit that I went on just would not have been worth it if it wasn't for this. This is what I got. This is what I went to the library for, because I saw, hey, it's there. World Without End by Ken Follett. I don't care that I read this. I don't care that I read the 1,000-page beast that was Pillars of the Earth just a couple months ago, or just a month ago, actually, a little over a month. I'm already reading World Without End. These long books no longer scare me. I'm just really excited to get into this, and I just hope that everybody also, if you are viewing, try to submit me questions. Don't be shy. Yeah. I sound like an absolute creep. But Ken Follett, I absolutely love Pillars of the Earth, and I've heard nothing but fantastic things about this one as well. I've heard it's just as heartbreaking, just as amazing as Pillars of the Earth. And if I was to choose one book that wasn't a reread, that is my favorite book of this year so far, it's Pillars of the Earth. So hopefully this one is just as wonderful, and I'm just so excited to read this. So excited. I can't even contain my excitement. It's just so wonderful. Like, if you've read Pillars of the Earth, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That book blew me away. It blew away. And I seriously cannot recommend it enough. And then the final book that I have is kind of like it's a sci-fi book, and it's not really like typical sci-fi. It's just sci-fi, but is weird. It's like it's not like as trippy as Dune, but it's still really trippy. And I know next to nothing about this book. I've heard of the author. I've heard of this book. I know there's like some system that's around like a weird type of currency that's around like food or something like that. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it's The Wind-Up Girl. I was about to say The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Paolo Bacigalupi. I think it's how I pronounce it. Bacigalupi. I've heard great things about this, but from most people, but some people are just kind of like to it. So, but it's like 350 pages, so it's like all right length, but it does sound really interesting to me. I think it's going to be fantastic. So hopefully I get into this one real soon, because my main priorities out of this pile are World Without End, Association of Small Bombs, All the King's Men, and Dead Souls. Dead Souls is actually the book I'm going to be I can technically say I'm currently reading because I'm starting it today. But yeah, Dead Souls is another priority. I'm wanting to get to Forbidden Colors and Shelter. It's just they're not as like, oh my god, these are like some priority for me as much as those books are. But yeah, those are the books I'm currently reading. If anybody has any questions, they can just leave it in the chat. And yeah, hopefully everything goes well. Wait. Those books are. But oh, I accidentally refreshed my page. Oh man. So if you heard me, that was it. But I flew through those real quick. Hold on. Ooh, I could do a mini haul. Hold on. All right, so the book I'm going to talk about right now is I have a little backstory behind this book because I just had to get it real quick. So I'm actually going to go through books that I recently bought and just never showed in a video. So the first one is Octavia E. Butler's Parable of the Sower. If I didn't go to the library yesterday, this would be the book I would be currently reading, because I actually pulled it off the shelf, got it, put the bookmark in it, and then I went to the library with these gems. And you know the rest of the story. But at the same time, I got this book for $3, which seems like, that's like an okay price. Like, it's really good price, but you know, what's so special about it? I got it from Barnes & Noble. $3 for a book from Barnes and Noble. This was like in the $5 bargain bin and like the bargain shelf, like the paperback favorites. That's what this was in. It was already $5. It was already really cheap for Barnes and Noble, and then we had a 40% off coupon. Score! Okay. But Parable of the Sower, I've heard nothing but fantastic things about this. I've heard it's just absolutely excellent. I've heard it's Octavia E. Butler's. I've actually heard it's Octavia E. Butler's best work. I don't know about you guys, but I've actually heard this is the one that most people say is their favorite. That and Kindred, which I loved Kindred. I thought it was fantastic. And Octavia E. Butler, I've heard is just. I've heard all of her works are very different from one another. They're all sci-fi, and they all surround like African-American characters because she's African-American herself. But they're all different stories. All the characters have different personalities. Even her writing style kind of changes throughout the entire, like some aspects of her writing changes throughout her series. I've heard she's just fantastic the whole way through. And Kindred was amazing. I absolutely love that book. And hopefully I love this one too. So I'm going to get the next book that I'm going to be talking about. And also, how are you guys doing? How's your day going, guys? I want to know. Oh, what else is there? Oh, I know. I'm just going to pull a lot out. So I don't have to do this stupid thing again and again and again. All right, is that all for now? Come on, something stick out. Really? Really? That's it? Ah. Okay. I got a stack of books, so well, I'll show these off, which is what I'm going to do. But the first one I already read. The first two I actually already. The first 3 out of the 4 I've already read. But they were just disappointing reads. Oh, the third one really wasn't. But the first one is probably the most disappointing out of the pile. I will be perfectly honest. It was the most disappointing out of the entire pile. And that is The Paper Menagerie and Other Stories by Ken Liu. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about Ken Liu, so when I went into this, I thought it was going to be something similar to Stories of Your Life by Ted Chiang, which, if you know me, Stories of Your Life and Others is my favorite short story collection of all time. I love that short story collection. It's one out of my 2 5 out of 5s this year so far, if you don't count my reread for The Secret History. But like in terms of like books I read for the first time in 2017, the Stories of Your Life is like my second favorite book of 2017 thus far. So when I was going into The Paper Menagerie, I've heard a lot of comparisons between Ted Chiang and Ken Liu, especially through this collection and Stories of Your Life. So I'm like, hey, this will be great. I bet this is going to be just as amazing. And I really shouldn't have hyped myself up, because while the good stories are fantastic, like there's one that I absolutely loved in here. Simulacrum, I think is how you pronounce it. That story, that was phenomenal. That was one of the best stories I've ever read. So that was in the middle of the collection, but the rest of the collection ranged from pretty good, like really impressive, to why'd you even write this? You know what I mean? But overall, this collection was just heavily 50-50. I don't think that I've ever read a more 50-50 collection in my life. Some of the stories were fantastic, like Simulacrum and The Paper Menagerie. That was really good. Here, I'll look at the index and see which ones I really liked. Now, those are 2 that I really liked. State of Change was really good. No, The Perfect Match was the one I really liked. That was the one that I really, really liked. Yeah, that's the one about, like, Tilly, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's the one about, like, the computer. The Perfect Match, Simulacrum, The Paper Menagerie, and I really liked... What else was there? An Advanced Reader's Picture Book of Comparative Cognition. That was really good as well. But overall, this collection was just 50-50. For every story that worked, there was a story that didn't work. And honestly, I just wasn't the biggest fan of it. I thought it was just okay. So, Paper Menagerie, I do recommend some of the stories out of here, but just overall, it's not the masterpiece I was hoping it would be. And then the next book is the author that, like, my current literary obsession, Yukio Mishima's Runaway Horses, the second book in the Sea of Fertility series. And I didn't love this one as much as Spring Snow. Like, Spring Snow is contender for my favorite Mishima book. This is easily my least favorite Mishima book yet. It's good, don't get me wrong, but just compared to the other books that he's written, this one is very just kind of like, yeah, it's alright. It's nothing really that impressive. But, you know, it's just, I keep clicking my mouse because I keep trying to get back and forth from my, like, live stream, like, control box to YouTube to see if the chat's changed. But Runaway Horses, I was just kind of disappointed with this book because half of the book was just, to be honest, mediocre. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. It was just like really bland, heavy on exposition. And I'm just kind of drawn at it. It just dragged itself out. It didn't have to be this long. It's like easily one of Mishima's longest books. In fact, I think this is actually the longest Mishima book just because it's over 400 pages while Forbidden Colors is flat 400. But Yukio Mishima, I still love this man. He's my favorite Japanese author. I think this book could have been a lot better if it was just cut down by like 100 pages, but at the same time, it did become really good at the end, and it made the journey worth it. It just didn't impress me nearly as much as Spring Snow. Like, Spring Snow was like mind-boggling good, but this one was just, it was good. Nothing impressive, but, you know, it's a good novel. So if you like Spring Snow, I definitely continue with the series. But if you didn't really like Spring Snow somehow, then I wouldn't really recommend this. Oh my goodness, this is a stack of books I have, guys. This is how much I've talked about in the live stream so far. No, wait. Hold on. This is how much I've talked about in the live stream so far. I'm impressed. Did anybody know They Might Be Giants? Does anybody know the band They Might Be Giants? Please tell me I'm not alone with that. That band is awesome. I love them. But the next story is the next book I'm going to show off is Interpreters of Maladies by Jumbo Lahiri. Not going to waste much time on this. I talked about it before because I've read it before. It's good. It's definitely I've read this and The Namesake. I like both of them equally. They're good. Nothing amazing. But I was actually close to getting Unaccustomed Earth, which I've heard is her best work, actually, even though this is the one. If you can't see that right there, this is the one that won the Pulitzer. So, Jumbo Lahiri, I cannot wait to get into this one. You know that statement when I said I'm not as good at speaking in live streams as I am with normal recordings? This is the case! But anyway, Jumbo Lahiri, I do really like her. And then the final book that I have for this stack is Luckiest Girl Alive by Jessica Knoll. If you don't know Jessica Knoll, like, the only reason this book got popular was because of Gillian Flynn, because Gillian Flynn liked it. I think that was the story behind it, because Gillian Flynn was like, hey, this is a good book, and everybody, like, jumped on it, and everybody hated it. Everybody but Gillian Flynn hated this book, or at least the majority of people. I know there's some people out there, so I'm like, being the hipster that I am, I decided to buy this thing for $5. And I don't think it was worth it, honestly, because I tried to read this and it was just confusing, bland. It was a confusing writing style. Like, this should not have been that confusing, but it did. But it was, surprise, surprise. But I do really like these like mystery stories that like deconstructs their characters. So that's why I feel like Gillian Flynn was a big fan of this. But at the same time, what I read of this wasn't really that good, so honestly, I don't know what to think about this book. So, yeah. And There's 2 other books that I have that I want to talk about before I try to hunt down for other books I can talk about on my bookshelf. One of them is Father and Sons by Ivan Turgenev. I actually read a good chunk of this before setting it down, and the writing style is really good. I actually really like the writing. It's just really, this story is just so boring. I thought it was just really boring. And you guys can say all you want, like saying, "Oh, you don't appreciate it much," or what, if like I'm being a complete pessimist right now, but Ivan Turgenev, I think he's a good writer from what I've read of him, i.e., 100 pages of Father and Sons, but overall, it just wasn't my cup of tea in terms of like story and characters. But I will admit, Turgenev has his way with words. And then the final book that I have is mainly got because of the setting. I am not even joking, and that's Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. I got the Everyman's edition. I just took the dust jacket off because it was the movie cover. Why does the Everyman's library have the movie cover? I have no idea why they have the movie cover. They just do. I don't know. I'm confused as well. Let's all be confused together. Everyone, join hands. But anyway, But the reason why I got Evelyn Waugh's Brideshead Revisited because it's set in a college. And if you know me, the book that I love the most, it's my favorite book of all time, is The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which, guess what, is set in college. Yay. But at the same time, I was also really interested in Evelyn Waugh. I've never read Evelyn Waugh in my life. I think he sounds very interesting, so I thought I'd give him a shot. So, Evelyn Waugh, I really hope that I end up liking this guy because he just sounds fantastic. Oh, let me just refresh. You'll hear my voice. Sounds very interesting. You heard my voice. Hopefully, I think you did. I think you did. But I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna hunt down some books on my bookshelf. Let's do this. Oh man. Am I gonna be running out of books? Really? Really? Oh, I actually want to tell you guys something. I want you to get back into Stephen King. So I'm actually gonna pull out a few Stephen King books. So I'll be right back with some Stephen King because I'm gonna be trying to read more long books, and Stephen King is just an author that I love. So I'm like, hey, why not? So I'm pulling out a couple books from him right now. Should I pull that one out? Nah. All right, so this will be good enough right now. But anyway, so the books that I decided to pull out were The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King, Doohickey by Stephen King, and Hearts in Atlantis by Stephen King. If you are, I wanted to have a favor for the people watching this. If you are watching this, comment in the chat because there's the chat in the live chat right there. Tell me what Stephen King you want. There are Hearts in Atlantis, Doohickey, or Eyes of the Dragon. I want to know which one because this is really, really awesome. Because all of these books sound great. I just need a final decision on which one. But anyway, those are the Stephen Kings I'm going to read. And I have so many books pulled out, guys. This is the hardships of live streams. I know, first world problems. But anyway, what else is there? Ooh, should I read American Gods soon? I remember vividly in my my first ever live stream that I was going to be reading American Gods, but it didn't happen. But American Gods is just, I've heard amazing things about it, but Neil Gaiman just really has been disappointing me lately. I don't think Neil Gaiman has just been as on top of his game as he used to be. Like, really, I adore The Sandman. I think it's the greatest book series I've ever read. I think some of his children's books are actually fantastic, like Coraline and Graveyard Book. But his adult novels so far has been really disappointing. Really disappointing. I am not a fan of his adult novels so far. That's why I've been a little skeptical about American Gods, because I read The Ocean at the End of the Lane, which I thought was just alright. And Neverwhere didn't impress me whatsoever. I thought that book was just bland and generic. But American Gods does sound better. It has a better premise. And my copy has ginormous text, but it's 700 pages. I think a normal copy, a text with normal size font would be no, not 200, 500 pages, 550. But yeah. And then there's also Alice. Ooh. A little while ago, I read some Alice Munro, and I decided I was going to get another collection from her. So this is Runaway by Alice Munro. I read Dear Life, which was really good short story collection. I highly recommend it, but people say this one is the one that's fantastic. I think that that Runaway is easily. I've heard this is easily her best work, okay? Because I don't think. Do you guys know if she ever wrote a novel? Hold on. I'm gonna search up this real quick. Because why? Because I have nothing else better to do. Has Alice Munro written a novel? Oh, she won the Nobel. Ooh! She won the Nobel Prize for Literature. Ooh! But yeah, she's never written a novel. All right, so now the more you know. Okay. But Alice Munro, I've heard, is fantastic. I think she's just really. I think a lot of her stories are just kind of like but a lot of her good stories are phenomenal. Like the last 4 stories in Dear Life blew me away, and I've heard this book collection is even better, and it looks like something more up my alley because it's longer stories, and I love longer stories, but not too long, you know. But yeah, this sounds fantastic. So yeah. And then what else is there? Oh. Ooh, yes. Lincoln in the Bardo. Has anybody read George Saunders' new book, Lincoln in the Bardo? And if so, is it any good? Because I've heard great things about it, but I just want more clarification because I already am on hold for Mohsin Hamid's new book, Exit West. Even though I wasn't a big fan of The Reluctant Fundamentalist, I do think that Exit West is, I've heard it's easily a gazillion times better. I've heard he's improved immensely. In fact, I've actually heard Max over at Well Done Books, that's his only 5 out of 5 stars so far this year, is Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. And people said Lincoln in the Bardo is also really good, so I thought, yeah, let's do some 2017 reads. And there were 70 people in line for Exit West and 120 in line for Lincoln in the Bardo. Yay! But Lincoln in the Bardo, I've heard is like historical fiction. It has like a unique writing style, and I've heard some parts of it are absolutely beautifully written. And Exit West is supposed to be beautiful the whole way through, so that sounds awesome. And then what else is there? Eventually I'm going to be doing a whole review of The Knicks by Nathan Hill, but I want to do something with Peter who I'm reading it with, Peter Mon. I do think that he's finally starting it. I know it's been a while. I know he's been stuck on this like memoir that he says is really bad and it's dragging him into a reading slump. But I think he finally pushed through it, I think, and he's starting The Knicks very soon. So good for you, man. Good for you. But The Knicks, was phenomenal. If I was to say my third favorite book of this year, the book that was closest, not only the third greatest book I've read so far this year that isn't a reread, but it's also the book that got the closest to getting a 5 out of 5, but didn't for me. Because the Knicks started out pretty slow. I will admit that the Knicks, even though it ended up being well worth it, started out really slow. Like, you had to get through like 30 to 40 pages to really get into it. If not the first part, which is like 50 to 60 pages, I think. But the Knicks, once you get into it, it's a whirlwind of great characters, great writing. No, some of the best writing I've ever read. It's one of the greatest. The Knicks, if you ask me, is one of the greatest debut novels I've ever read. And I'm definitely on board for Nathan Hill's career because I hope he doesn't waste his potential. I think his career will be absolutely fantastic. And please, don't be a Donna Tartt. I'll be fine waiting 4 or 5 years for another Nathan Hill book, but a decade? No, please. But I think he took like 3 to 4 years to write the Knicks, so I'll be fine with that. And I'm seeing Three Souls by Jeannie Chang, which is Kate's favorite book, and I really liked it as well. I'm wanting to read more Rohit Mystery, who's the guy that wrote A Fine Balance. I love The Fine Balance. I thought that was fantastic. Oh yeah. This will be interesting. I pulled out a book from my boxes that I thought I would never read, but everybody kept saying, oh no, you don't understand this author. You just gotta read more. You read his 2 worst. So even though I've heard one of them that I read was actually one of his best. But people told me to read For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway. Is Ernest Hemingway any good? I don't think so, but I haven't read like his major novels yet. I read The Old Man and the Sea, hated it. I've read Movable Feast, and I was eh. And For Whom the Bell Tolls, I read like the first page, and it was eh. So at least it won't be god-awful, but it's really chunky. It's like 500 pages, so I'm kind of skeptical about this, so yeah. But what else? What else? I'm refreshing the page. Uh-oh. Cool about this. My voice. Whoa. Also, I reread a book last night. I reread a graphic novel last night that I really was shocked about. Did anybody remember this? This is The Wicked and the Divine by Kieron Gillen and Jamie McKelvey. And to say that I was disappointed with this is an understatement. I was shocked by how little it held up for me. The art is brilliant. I will hold on. Look at that! Look at that! That is some of the best art I have ever seen. And I will admit that the story was alright, but it was very dense on exposition. And I just didn't realize that because I was like 14 or 13 when I first read the series. No, 14. It had to be when I was 14 because I read it when the first volume just released. But now there's 4 volumes. I may read volume 2 just to make sure that I don't like it, but at the same time, it just seemed a lot of name dropping, but at the same time, I did love the series when I was younger, so maybe I'll go back to it. Maybe I'll read the 2nd volume and I'll be blown away, but as of right now, it's just not something I'd be super into. But which makes me scared for rereading The Sandman because I'm worried that'll be the same thing. But I've heard much better things about The Sandman than Wicked and the Divine, so that'd be good. And once I run out of stuff, I'm getting off. But it's been 40 minutes. This has been a pretty cool live stream. Or 39 minutes. Oh, I was a minute off. But 39 minutes. And we have 3 viewers. I know that's not much for professional streamers, but I'm happy with that. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys so much for watching. But anyway, what else? What other books are there? And my next reread will be The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. And then I'll be rereading The Wine and Bird Chronicle after that. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. I think that's actually it. So with that, I think I'm just going to make sure. Anything that I can think of? I don't know. But anyway, I think I may just get off. So thank you guys for watching this live stream. It was just like a quick 40 minutes, just me trying to get back into making videos. Actual edited video will be released tomorrow. I'm trying to make a video tomorrow. So with that out of the way, I'm MegaManChiefFan, and I'll see you later, guys.